Hello, and welcome to Brave Leaders. I'm Tara Weir, your host of this episode. Well, of all episodes. Uh, Tonight, I really want to clarify what a pinch and a crunch is. And the reason I want to clarify this is because it makes a difference on how we handle our interactions with people when we're frustrated. One of the things that I learned in my graduate school program was this concept of handling challenges with people when it's really at the start. I sometimes wait thinking, well, I can overlook it, or I try to just talk myself through it. I know that I love to be agreeable. I want to be liked, and I don't like conflict. So I often avoid it. And that doesn't do anybody any good, especially when it's something that I could clear the air on and really connect with that person about. Um, so, what I want to recommend tonight is to practice bringing up challenges or frustrations with other people as soon as you can. Um, I notice that there will be times when I try to ignore the mess that is accumulating around my house, especially with the pandemic and everyone being home. I really like having an orderly house. My routine has been in the past, we all get up in the morning, we have breakfast, and everybody leaves. And right then, I straighten up the house, I do the dishes, and then I get to work. And then all day, it's still in order. But right now, we're all here. So, what I'm realizing is that when I try to ignore it and just stuff it down, then when I approach my kids, I am overreactive. I snap at them and it's been building. So, what I'm, you know, and really another topic that I'll address at another time is identifying our needs, because that's really helpful when we can approach other people coming from a place of, when we're clear about what it is that we're needing, and then we can make requests. But if I've been stuffing and stuffing and stuffing how I've been feeling, then I'm not calm, I'm not clear, and it doesn't usually come out respectfully. And I don't usually make requests, I get really demanding. So, um, yeah, so a pinch is the idea of when it's just early on, and a crunch is when I've been stuffing it. My advice, and from my experience, is that when I do address my frustrations or my disappointments with the people in my life early on, then I'm much more able to be calm, clear, and respectful about how I address it. So, one of the topics that I'll talk about next will be needs, and maybe I'll talk briefly about it now. So, I know that when I get triggered, my feelings rise. Usually, if it's frustration with my kids, I'll notice that I'll get angry or frustrated. And right then, my logical brain shuts down, and my lizard brain or my reactive brain kicks into place. And so um, I have a much more difficult time, and I can't be as logical as when I'm calm. So I know that I have to calm myself and get grounded before I approach the subject with my kids. And again, it's important to do it as early on as I can, because then I'm not having an accumulation of energy and frustration that blows up, because that never, ever, ever is effective. It's not effective for connection, and it's not effective for helping correct behavior. My my goal is to notice when I'm triggered, to do some really great grounding methods. There's lots of different grounding techniques. One, for example, is counting down from 20. Another one is to look around my room and I can identify, just mentally describing 3 or 4 different objects in my room. Another one is to extend my fingers. And that calms the energy and it calms the nervous system. That's ultimately what we're trying to do, is calm the nervous system. So the next idea is that once I'm calm, I want to get clear about what I need. And when I get clear about that, I can put it into words. So, for example, I could say to Zach, "Hey, bud, I notice your shirt is on the kitchen counter. I feel frustrated when I see your shirt because what I really need is space in the kitchen on the counter to be able to prepare food. So I'm wondering, would you be willing to keep your personal things outside of the kitchen, off the counter, so that there's space when it's time to cook? Would you be willing?" Now, if I had been stewing about that and stewing about other things, and I hadn't said anything earlier, it definitely would not come out that way. It would be much more angry and probably rude and really bossy and directive, and he is not welcoming of that. So my goal is to address frustrations and address my kids and my family and my friends and my coworkers when I am able to be logical and communicative. So tonight I just wanted to emphasize the difference between a pinch and a crunch. And I really invite you to start noticing when your energy changes, when you start to feel frustrated, or when you start to feel disappointed or discouraged, or when you start to feel anxious or nervous or scared. And just try to notice that and get clear for yourself what it is that you need, and then figure out how you can put that into words. The goal is to make an observation in a neutral way. So instead of me saying, "Zach, I noticed your freaking t-shirt is totally in my way again," right? So that is not an observation, that has judgment all over it. But I can observe, "Hey, I noticed your t-shirt was on the kitchen counter. It would be helpful for me if when I walked in the kitchen it was clear." So if you can try to make your observation as neutral as possible, and then be clear about what you need, and then make a request, and do this early on so that your energy isn't flowing, the anger isn't flowing out. Take a walk and release that energy. Figure out how you can get grounded again after that and be able to come from your logical brain instead of your reactive lizard brain. Okay, so that's the share tonight, and I wish you happy conversations. And if they're not happy, then at least clear and calm and respectful. Until next time, thanks for listening.